Eid Mubarak, my friends. We are making Turkish cream-filled baklava shobiyet. I have many baklava recipes on the channel already. I wanted to add a different one from scratch with an easy method. We are making cream-filled Turkish baklava shobiyet. First, I'm making the filling, which consists only with milk and semolina. I'm using 1.5 cups of milk and 3.5 cups of semolina. Just going to boil everything and simmer until it thickens. I'm making a rich dough with very few ingredients. I have 35 grams butter at room temperature, 1/4 of a cup each vegetable oil and milk. Going to use half egg, so I'm whisking lightly and adding half of it. Over the mixture, added 100 milliliter water and 1 teaspoon yogurt. And finally, to get some crispiness, I'm adding 1 tablespoon grape vinegar. This is our wet ingredients. Now the flour. In total, I used about 2.5 cups of flour. It is better to use strong flour, and it is optional, but to give a little bit help to rise, I also added leveled teaspoon baking powder at the end. Knead everything, adding more flour if needed until you have not too soft, pliable dough. First, I'm going to cut into 2 pieces and then each piece into 10. I'm gonna make a cream-filled baklava shobiyet only with the half of the dough, and with the other half I'm gonna make a walnut baklava. If you want to use the whole of it to make only one kind, you can double the amount for the filling, semolina filling. So I shaped my pieces into balls, and from now on I'm gonna only use starch to roll out my dough pieces. First, with the rolling pin, just roll out into a small dessert plate for about 15 centimeter in diameter. And first I'm gonna open the one batch and then stack them together, placing generously from the starch in each layer. Cover the dough pieces and let it rest for 10 minutes. Now I'm going to sift generously from the starch and place all the layers on top of each other. The starch will prevent them to stick even while we roll out all together, and will create thin, crispy baklava layers. So now I have 10 layers. You can roll them out all together, but this time I wanted to work with 5 pieces. And I want to show you alternative how to roll out with the oklava, but it's optional, my friends. If you are doing it for the first time, if you don't have a Turkish tin oklava like this one, you can do all the steps with rolling pin. What oklava does here is, instead of pressing only down with a rolling pin, you roll out and had to get some air between each layer, and the result becomes even more beautiful. As you can see, I can easily peel off each piece, and my first batch is ready. Here is the second 5. I'm gonna do the same and roll out as much as I can. The semolina filling can thicken. When it cools down, you can add some more milk and adjust the consistency. It should be soft but still hold its shape to use as a filling.
10.000 lira. Yok, 30.000.
So here I have 10 thin layers of yufka sheets, phyllo sheets together. And one more time I roll it with my oklava and cut the dough into equal size squares. I used my finger to measure, and my 4 fingers measures about 7 centimeters wide. If you want, you can make them smaller, but I think this size is ideal. Now place generously from the filling, and on top of it add chopped roasted hazelnuts. Now gently fold and don't press too much, because they will open and create the layers in the oven. And place it to the pan slightly overlapping each other. I was almost able to fill my 26 by 35 centimeter pan. So with the second batch I added 2-3 more pieces. In the second batch I only used rolling pin. Again, first open up the layers, filling generously from the wheat starch, and then roll everything all together. Here again, in a similar size pan, first I cut a nice even rectangular that will fit to my pan. Get 2-3 pieces for the shobiyet baklava to fill my pan, and continue to build up with the rest of the dough. I simply place the leftover pieces from the shobiyet also in this baklava. Place generously from the walnut, and on top cover with the even rectangular piece. For the walnut baklava, I cut them into rectangulars and melted 125 grams of butter. Collect the white foamy part if there is any, and don't use it because they tend to burn in the oven. Evenly butter the baklavas and first bake in 180 Celsius degree oven. After 15 minutes, when it begins to rise, lower to 160 Celsius degree and continue to bake until golden for about up to an hour. For its syrup, I boiled 2 cups of sugar and 1 plus 1/4 of a cup of water, dropped some lemon juice and boiled for about 10 minutes until the last drops becomes heavy. After this stage, lower the heat and keep it hot and ready. My baklavas are ready, hot from the oven, and I pour the warm syrup on top. I didn't pour the syrup over the walnut baklava. I'm gonna keep it for 2 days until we finish the shobiyet and then serve the walnut baklava, pouring warm syrup. Okay, here it is, my friends. Smells like baklava. It has both pistachio and hazelnut. I love the cream filling. We added syrup on top, and when you bite together, it's heavenly. So give it a try. Share your comments with me. I have many other baklava recipes on the channel. You can check from the links. Eid Mubarak. I hope to see you in the next episode.